Has anyone ever sat you down and told you the real truth about life after 80? Not just the stuff people post on birthdays? Wow, you're 80. What a blessing. But the deeper truths, the ones that sneak up on you in the quiet moments, the ones no one really talks about. Because turning 80 doesn't just mark another year, it marks a shift, a slow, silent change in how the world sees you and how you begin to see yourself. It's a time of deep wisdom, but also deep loss. A time of peaceful mornings, and sometimes very long nights. Of being fully present, yet feeling strangely distant from the pace of the world around you. And unless someone prepares you for what's coming, it can catch you off guard. Leave you wondering, why didn't anyone warn me about this? In this video, we're going to walk through 5 brutally honest truths about life after 80. Not to scare you, not to make you feel worse, but to give you clarity. Because when you see these truths clearly, you stop being blindsided by them. You can meet them with grace, with strength, on your terms. We'll talk about the vanishing social circle, the body that no longer bounces back, the creeping need for help, even when your pride resists it, the subtle way society starts, looking past you, and that odd ache in your heart when regrets from long ago return during moments of stillness. But don't worry. This isn't just about the hard parts, because facing these truths can unlock something powerful. Acceptance, resilience, and a chance to shape your final chapter with quiet strength and dignity. And if you're watching this right now, take a second to hit like and subscribe. Not just for us, but for yourself. These kinds of honest conversations, they're rare, but they matter. And staying connected to content like this could make a real difference in your life, or someone you love. So let's start where many people begin to feel it first. Number 1, a social circle that quietly disappears. This reality doesn't show up on a scan. It's not something your doctor will mention. But emotionally, it hits hard. After 80, the first changes often aren't physical. They're relational. The people who once made your world feel full, your oldest friends, your neighbors, your siblings, they begin to fade away. Sometimes gradually, other times all at once. A friend who used to call every Sunday, now it's every few months, if at all. A neighbor who once waved from the porch, moved out last spring, a sibling who used to check in weekly, they've grown quieter too. It's not that they stopped caring, it's just life keeps moving. People get busy, some get sick, some pass away, and others are simply dealing with their own aging journeys. But what's left behind can feel eerily silent. You wake up one morning and realize the phone barely rings anymore. The dinner invites slow down. Family visits feel shorter, more rushed. You're not forgotten, but you're no longer centered in other people's lives the way you once were. I once knew a gentleman named Walter, 84 years old. Every morning for years, he'd go to the same little coffee shop. The staff knew his name. His friends didn't even need to text. They just showed up. It was a rhythm, a comfort. But over time, those friends stopped coming. Some passed. Others couldn't drive anymore. One moved out of state to be near family. And suddenly, Walter became just the quiet man in the corner booth. He once told me, "It's strange, being surrounded by people, but feeling invisible." That kind of loneliness doesn't always come with tears or dramatic scenes. Sometimes it's just a silent evening, a walk that feels too quiet, a feeling you can't quite shake. And the truth is, by 80, your world starts to feel smaller. Not because you choose it, but because people slowly step out of it. But here's the key. When you know this is coming, you can choose to meet it differently. You can build new connections, even if the old ones are fading. Whether it's joining a church group, calling an old friend yourself, setting up a weekly lunch, even writing a handwritten letter, you can reach out. Because after 80, connection doesn't knock on your door like it used to. You have to go looking for it. And yes, it takes courage. but you've made it through decades of life. You already have that courage in you. And once you understand this first truth, you're ready to face the next one. Number 2, your body starts making decisions you never agreed to. It doesn't always begin with a dramatic event. Sometimes it's something as small as a misstep on the stairs, a stumble, a twist, a cough that lingers longer than it used. 2. And suddenly, what might have been a 2-day recovery at 60 becomes 2 weeks or more. A stomach bug drains you for days. A sore muscle nags longer than it should. And even when you do recover, things don't quite return to normal. Your balance feels just a little off. Breathing takes a bit more effort. Your body isn't bouncing back the way it used to. I remember meeting a woman named Gloria. She was 81, sharp as a tack, full of life. She loved her independence, tended to her backyard garden every morning, walked her block with confidence. She was the kind of woman you'd call active and mean it. But one day, while trimming her rose bush, she took a small fall. Nothing major, just a bump and a bruise. But the real impact didn't come from the fall itself. It came in the days after. "I thought I was just taking a break," Gloria told me later, "but my body treated it like a full stop. What began as a few weeks of rest stretched into months of reduced strength. Her legs felt weaker, her energy dipped, and worst of all, her confidence unraveled. That's the part no one warns you about," she said. "At this age, rest doesn't always restore. It can slow you down permanently. And that's the brutal truth of life after 80. Even when you're careful, even when you do everything right, your body sometimes decides it's time to slow down, not out of failure, but out of biology. But here's where the strength lives. In knowing this, you begin to honor your energy more wisely. You stop pushing just to prove something. You start pacing, not out of fear, but out of respect. You begin to treat your health like something sacred, something to care for gently every single day. Even if the bounce is gone, your balance becomes wiser. Your movement slower, but more deliberate. Your rest becomes deeper, because it's earned, not avoided, and slowly, you come to see this truth. A slower body can still carry a strong spirit. And that spirit, it's what carries you forward. If you're still with me and this message resonates, drop a simple 2 in the comments. Let me know. You're here. I read them, and they mean more than you know. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Because the truth we're about to face is one of the hardest to accept. Number 3, a growing need for help. No matter how strong your spirit is, no matter how fiercely you've held on to your independence, after 80, something shifts. You start noticing that tasks you once did without blinking now take a little more thought, a little more effort. At first, it's subtle. You find yourself avoiding the top shelves, holding the railing just a bit tighter when you go down the stairs. You hesitate before driving on a rainy day. You move more carefully, not out of fear, but out of a quiet knowing that your body's not as quick to react. And here's the truth. That can be hard to admit. The desire to stay independent never fades. If anything, it gets stronger with age. But independence doesn't always mean doing everything alone. Sometimes it means being wise enough to know when to ask for help, and brave enough to accept it. I once knew a man named Eugene. He was 85, tough as nails, the kind of man who'd built his life with his bare hands, literally. A war veteran, a father of 4. He once built an entire shed in his backyard, using nothing but leftover lumber and pure determination. He prided himself on doing things his way, by himself. But one winter, Eugene slipped on his icy driveway. Thankfully, no bones were broken, just a bruised ego. He didn't tell anyone, not a word, but his daughter noticed. He moved a little slower, a little more carefully, so she started stopping by once a week. just to drop off groceries and stay for a cup of coffee. At first, Eugene pushed back. "I'm fine," he'd grumble. But over time, that coffee became a ritual, a comfort. And one day, he looked at his daughter and said something he never thought he would. "You know, it's kind of nice, not having to carry everything alone." And that's when it clicked. Accepting help doesn't take away your independence. It protects it. Because when someone helps you climb the stairs, drive you to your appointment, or lift something heavy, it's not a sign of weakness. It's an act of preservation. You're not giving up control. You're buying yourself more time doing the things you actually care about. And not all help needs to come from people. It could be a grab bar in the shower, a sturdy stool in the kitchen, or a reminder on the fridge to take your meds. These aren't signs of decline. They're tools of strength. They don't take away your dignity. They preserve it. After 80, one of the most courageous things you can say might simply be, "I could use a hand." Because the older you get, the more powerful it becomes to choose safety over stubbornness, peace over pride, and connection over isolation. But sometimes, even when you do reach out, the world doesn't always reach back. That brings us to number 4, and it's one of the most painful truths many face after 80. Number 4. What happens when you start to feel invisible? Just as we talked about the quiet courage it takes to ask for help, there's another challenge many face after 80, a feeling that can cut deeper than any physical ache. Feeling invisible. I remember a woman named Irene. She was 86 and volunteered at a local museum, full of knowledge and stories from decades past. One day, a visitor asked the staff a question Irene could have answered in her sleep. After all, she lived through that very decade of history, but somehow the question skipped right over her. When I asked Irene how that felt, she simply smiled and said, "I'm used to it." But behind that smile was a quiet sadness, the kind that comes when you're seen as furniture, not fire. But here's the truth you need to hear. You are not furniture. You are not background. You are still here, still thinking, still contributing, still very much alive. And just because the world sometimes forgets that, doesn't mean you have to. So, what do? You speak up. You ask the questions. You share your opinions. You vote. You tell your stories, even if no one asks. You stand tall, even if your knees wobble a bit. Because every single time you claim your space in the room, you remind the world, and more importantly, yourself, that you are not done yet. You are not invisible. You are a living library, a witness to time, a voice that still matters. And the best part? You don't have to shout to be heard. You just have to refuse to disappear. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights meaningful, go ahead and comment number 4 below to let me know you're here with me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I highly recommend you do so now and turn on the bell. That way, you won't miss any videos that inspire and inform you. Your support means the world and helps us keep creating content you care about. Now let's keep moving forward. Number 5. A sense of regret if purpose isn't redefined. As you move deeper into your 80s, a strange kind of quiet starts to settle. Not just around you, but inside you. Life slows down. The calendar isn't as full as it used to be. And with that quiet comes space. Space to reflect, to remember, to replay moments from the past. That space can be beautiful, but if you're not careful, it can grow heavy. Not the kind of loud, dramatic sadness you see in movies, but a quieter, deeper kind. The kind that whispers, "I wish I had spent more time with them." The kind that asks, "Why didn't I take that chance when I had it?" It's the kind of regret that sneaks in when you finally have the time, but not always the energy or freedom to do what you once postponed. This is a truth few talk about openly. We celebrate the wisdom that comes with age, the freedom of retirement, the joy of grandchildren. And all of that is real and precious. But there's another question that lingers quietly in the background. What now? If you've spent your whole life working, giving, running, raising, serving, and then it all stops, it can feel like your purpose is fading too. I knew a man named Stanley. He was 88 and had been a teacher for over 40 years. When he retired, he felt proud, yes, but also strangely hollow. "No one needs me anymore," he said once. But that wasn't true. Stanley just hadn't yet found a new way to be needed. Because here's something important to remember. Purpose doesn't retire. It just changes shape. Maybe you don't build houses anymore, but you build confidence in your great-grandkids with your stories. Maybe you don't lead meetings, but you lead with presence when someone is grieving. Maybe you don't solve big problems, but you solve loneliness with a smile to a neighbor. The danger of regret isn't that you made mistakes. We all have. It's that you sit in those regrets too long without turning them into something meaningful. When you redefine purpose, not as productivity, but as presence, you begin to see how much you still have to give, not just to others, but to yourself. Because the most important work you'll do after 80 may not be for legacy or applause. It may simply be waking up each day with kindness in your heart, curiosity in your eyes, and enough courage to ask, how can I bring a little light today, even if it's just a little? That's not regret. That's redemption. And the best part? It's never too late to find it, building on those powerful truths about aging, the challenges, the quiet struggles, and the unexpected gifts. There's something deeper we come to understand. It means you've lived long enough to see life for what it really is. Unpredictable, sometimes unfair, yet still profoundly worth showing up for every single day. So out of these 5 realities we've explored, which one hit home the most for you? Was it the loneliness that creeps in as your social circle slowly shrinks? Or maybe the frustration of a body that just doesn't bounce back like it used to? Perhaps it's the awkwardness of needing help when you've spent decades being the one to give it. Or could it be that invisible feeling, when the world moves so fast it seems to forget you're still here? Or the quiet ache that grows when your sense of purpose feels unclear or distant? Whatever struck you, I hope you felt truly seen, because here's the honest truth. You are not alone in any of this. Not in the slowing down, not in the moments of forgetfulness, not in the restless nights filled with what-if questions, or the times when you wonder, what comes next? And here's the best part. Even now, even at this stage of life, you still get to choose. You can choose connection over isolation. You can choose rest when your body calls for it. You can choose to ask for help without shame. You can choose to speak up when you're overlooked, and speak gently when someone needs your kindness. You can choose to forgive yourself for what didn't happen and honor yourself for everything you did accomplish. This chapter of life, it's not an ending. It's the most profound part of your story. It's the part where every word matters more, where small acts of kindness carry deeper meaning than any grand gesture ever could. It's the part where your presence, your patience, your wisdom, these become your greatest strengths. Thank you so much for being with us today. We'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment below sharing one insight you took away and how you plan to bring it into your life. Your voice matters, and reading your thoughts inspires us to keep creating content that informs and uplifts. If this video helped you in any way, please give it a like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might benefit too. Your support makes all the difference. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to welcoming you back in the next video, where we'll continue exploring this journey together.